Good day. How we doing? And welcome everybody. Well, this is a bit of downtime. Might as well start playing something. Let's have a look. Hi, Johnny. Alright, I'll just knock the music down a bit. bit smaller, isn't it? Let's see if I can get it there. We'll go bigger that way. There we go. All right, Johnny, good to see you. Good to see you on here. I'm sure you've already subscribed, but brilliant. It's one of my vertical streams. Got my coffee, and it's all good, isn't it? I'll do a little bit more jamming on here. Hi, Josh. And that's probably a good place to stop, isn't it? Right, yes. So, today's stream's all about guitars, chatting and chilling, which is something I'm, mind you, I'm always chilled. But hard working is what I like to think of myself. So, how are we doing, Josh? Good to see you on here. I'm hoping it's suddenly going to get busy, because life's good. I've had a fairly good day of music, actually. It's been fairly busy. There's been some very sort of interesting things I've been doing. Some of which I can't really talk about. But some things I can is I've been bringing in my Frank Gambale book, Techniques book #1, and memorising bits of it between sessions and things. So for those of you who don't know me, right, so I work full-time as a musician, right, but my main job is a therapeutic musician / coach, and so I'm always booked with tons and tons of sessions with people, usually on average about 6 to 7 a day, unless it's one of my longer days, which then it's up to 10 or 11. That's a ridiculous amount of people, but some of it's really good because I get to jam at a really high level. I get to do music technology. It's so many cool things I get to do, so it's just for a very and you're working with really interesting people all the time, so it's really it's great. So one of my challenges is I've got various music theory books I take, and I try to memorize sections of them and then try and implement them in whatever I'm doing during the day. So that's been sort of the one thing I've been doing today, which has been great. And I'm always into continuous progress, put it that way. You won't tell anyone. All right. Okay. Doing dandy. Won't tell anyone. Yes. So, yeah, and it's just really interesting being now seeing myself in vertical. So I've been. It's really weird because like the vertical streams are like really popular, but I've got another view. So we've got this one now, so you can see I was playing to a backing track. Look at that. You know, somebody as like prolific as me playing to backing tracks. Disgraceful, isn't it? But I'll tell you what I have got underneath that. What you should see is this. So that's like what you're looking at there is this evening's live setup. So you can see me and you can see the live setup and my looper, which reminds me I've got to like take my slippers off. I'm very rock and roll, so what do you think? Moccasin slipper, but wouldn't recommend them because they have grooves in the feet and the foot pedals, guitar pedals get stuck in between them. Like, so I have to use my big toe to kind of, backing tracks are fun. Backing tracks are great. In fact, I've been doing lessons on sort of backing tracks and like practicing to them and things like that. And they're just great. Sometimes I do use the metronome very early on, maybe it's when I'm kind of doing some stuff, I'll put it on. But other times I just immediately want to get on a backing track because whatever I'm practicing, it's going to be for some sort of improvisational thing. I might as well hear it against some music because, like, fundamentally, why we're doing what we're doing, it's to make music, isn't it? So it kind of makes sense to just basically make music with whatever you're playing straight away. That's my top tip. But yes, you can see, like, this is my live kind of set up and it's sort of growing a bit. Got a couple of things, drum machines, we've got various guitar things going on. Oh, there's something I've got to sort out. Board. Right, yeah. So, that's it. Yeah. Various guitar things set up. God knows what that's tuned to. That's down 3. C sharp minor. Yeah, it is hot. I'll tell you what it is. That's the Polychrome DSP new plugin, Nutcracker. God, I really fancy playing over that. I wonder if that'll work over, like, maybe a vaporwave thing. Oh, I like that. Alright. What channel are we on? Oh yeah. There we go. So yeah, that was this, right? So this is the upgraded guitar bass setup. So essentially, you can see down here, right? I've got two nutcrackers, two of them, panned hard left, panned hard right, different patches. In fact, if I remember rightly, we might be able to get them to go even wider. Let me just have a look here. Bars, nutcracker. Oh yeah. Right, slightly wider now. So yeah. Very cool. Right, let's see what's happening in the chat. And then I'll place a track or something. Oh, very good. I'm watching from the passenger seat of my car today as I go into town for food in the market. Very cool. Hell yeah. That's hard. I dig it. Groovy. All right, brilliant. So probably have to play some more tunes. Do you think? Let's see what we got. I'll do a McRocklin and Hutch one, but not that one. Ooh, what key is this in? F sharp minor. I can't do the rest of it because, like, it's the live version has this big jam on it, doesn't it? And I need Thomas there. Yes, second guess was right. Technically, though, hold on. Oh no, we're in natural minor, so you could have played E minor pentatonic over it, but you can't. Just you'd have a note that would be wrong. Right. Okay. So what's everybody up to this evening? Anybody got any, like, exciting plans? So, just some things whilst on my mind. I have a Patreon site now for those of you who don't know this information. So there's a Patreon, and basically you can support my channel on there. Now, it's not just, you know, if you're here on the first time. Hi, George, how you doing? If you're here for the first time, do subscribe. If you're interested in joining the Discord, the link's in the about. If you're interested in joining the Patreon as a free member, basically go to Patreon, and what you'll see is it'll say become a member, and that'll take you to some paid options. There's actually at the top right hand side 3 dots. You click on there and there's a join for free, so you can do that. If you do want to support the channel, it's $4, okay? Now bear this in mind, right? It's value for money, because I'm basically running a coaching / education program, pretty much, you know, at least 3 mornings every week, 3 to 4 mornings, plus this live, and on there there's like just a ton of value. I mean, we're doing all of this stuff, you know, like guitar, music technology, but the real value is in the coaching stuff. So I'm a trained coach, and, you know, my mission in life is to help people. You know, it doesn't matter how skilled you are, right? but my job is to help people facilitate the skills they've already got and help them get themselves out there in the world, make a connection, with their music. That's the best possible way I can describe it, is making our connection. Because when we make a connection, when you put music out there, when you put your art out there, when you go live, or whether you do like doing content on YouTube, you're making a connection, you're giving value to like other people, and it's good for other people, but it's also good for you because it'll bring opportunities, and when you keep doing that, eventually you get to do what you love, preferably as a full-time job. So basically, that's what the channel's sort of about, really kind of helping people. But there are other things on there. There's a one-to-one coaching option. It's coaching, not a guitar lesson. Bear that in mind. So you can have there's the coaching option as well, which is sort of the high ticket price. But the $4 keeps the channel going and ensures that I bring value. I would bring value anyway. Yeah, so basically on Tyler, on the evening streams, I thought, right, I'll go vertical, because apparently vertical you get onto the vertical feed. So technically, it'll bring the numbers in. It's really weird because I'm looking at the numbers and I can see them wildly going up, then quickly going down, as people scroll past. But again, if anybody's on here who's new, do subscribe to the channel. So yeah, it's like I thought, do some vertical. More people will probably see the stream, but the caveat, I suppose, on that, which isn't a bad one, is I've got to perform a bit more instead of like talking and kind of going down my coaching guitar technology thing that I do. So it's a bit more about entertainment, which is a good thing. Right, so yes, George, good to see you. Right, so Josh has no plans, which is great. Just eat, drink, coffee, play guitar. You see, that's a plan. That's like a plan A. That's like the best plan, isn't it? They are plans. Right, a question. Oh, right, that's very important. I love questions. A question. I have a question. What kind of laptop or desktop is best for running your apps? I intend on getting something really soon, but I'm lost on this topic. Right, so basically what I run, you can't see. Oh, you can see it, look. You might be able to see a bit. Oh, you can see a bit of it. It's so this is the new MacBook Pro Max. Not quite the top, but it's down from the top, and it's fast. So remember, I'm running all of my studio, tons of plugins, and then I'm also streaming. The cameras are streaming into the computer at 4K, and then everything's getting pushed down to 1080p. So it's running like eCam and all that video footage and stuff. With 24 frames or whatever. So this does a lot. So it's brilliant. This'll just, yeah. And the great Macs, the last, you'll have them for a while. So that's the thing. All you need is a MacBook. If you're making music in Ableton Live and you're ready to go, maybe a couple of other plugins might help, like a Fab Filter or Fab Filter L2 limiter for mixing, so you can make things out. But even then, you can just get AI to do your mastering, and it comes out all right. Play something awesome. God, right, I'll try to. Yeah, let's do something awesome. I knew it's also did a string slant lesson on McRocklin's site. Yeah, that was ages ago. So the pick slanting. So pick slanting was discovered the Troy Grady thing, and it unlocked a whole kind of thing for me. But actually since then, I'm an economy picking person. So things have changed a bit, and also the way that I do my slanting is slightly different, mind you, not by much. It's just more kind of optimized, put it that way. Yeah, I mean, do you know what? Like back then, I'm probably wooden as hell on the McRocklin and Hutch like lesson videos, but actually, like teaching guitar, it's like difficult. It's like on a stream, because you can't get into flow. You have to like think how you did it, then you got to think about how you're going to teach it to them, and usually your playing turns to crap. So that's why I've kind of just done absolutely tons of kind of teaching just to improve that skill on the morning lives. All right, I can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Can you do you know any Rammstein song? No, I don't play any covers. I'm 100% original artist. I've learned bits of songs when I was learning guitar based on things that I was really interested in. My music's influenced by different artists, obviously, but I've never been one for doing covers, to be fair. Apart from like when I was a skint student and I had to do a few pantomime shows on guitar, but that's been it. Well, theatre wasn't pantomime. But we can have a look. We can see what we can do. I mean, there'll be something. Oh, the other thing is, if anybody's got any suggestions of backing tracks for me to play over, I'll do that. But I don't want any copyright strikes. So if you send a link just in the chat of something you want me to play on, I'm more than up for that. Yeah. Ask away. I want to ask you something. I want to buy an electric guitar, but right now I only have guitars with SSS pickups or HS pickups. But I want to play metal and metalcore with them. Right. So basically, I'm a Kiesel artist, right? And I absolutely love their guitars, So Kiesel, Overy rock. This one, barely rock. So this is like what you call an Osiris. This black one. Got the purple heart neck. Five piece. Gauge 9 strings. Steel frets. McRocklin's signature Fishman pickups, excellent. They're active. Yeah, of course you can. You can play metal on anything. Righty. So
I don't do it no more. I don't do it no more. Got me crying.
All right, Jeff, how are you doing? Right, right, chat. Let's catch up. Right, what we got here? So my plan is to work on some songs and have a technique session for picking today. I've been experimenting on 8-string of late, one of my own jams. Brilliant. And there's Jeff. Pleased to see you on here. This is great. This is my attempt at a gig. I'm just learning. I've just learned of Troy Grady after your lesson and realised I've naturally done it and picked it up for my alternate picking at some time on the journey. Maybe MA originally Speed Kills, Michelangelo Speed Kills, Economy is best. Right, okay, so yes, WC, that's absolutely brilliant. And actually, I was talking about this on my last stream when I ended up talking about picking, and what appears to be the majority of the cases that Troy Grady interviews is most of those artists, it evolved naturally through their playing. Then they realised what it was and then doubled down on that technique when they realised that was how they were overcoming certain problems. But what I would be very, very wary of, and I'm not saying this is like something that you're doing, right? But we have to be very careful that we don't pigeonhole ourselves in kind of plain beliefs. So, for example, I've done all the worst things, right? So all the most embarrassing shit, all the things that you could possibly do wrong in music production, anything to do with music, right? I've had to like completely fuck it up and then like sort it out, but that's part of learning, okay? And one of the beliefs I had for a very long time was that I am an alternate picker, and I did legato as well, and that was it. And I had to, honestly, slavishly, I would have to do everything with an alternate picking to do with scales and things like that. And even when it came to doing, trying to do odd numbers of notes on strings, right? And I would spend hours getting really frustrated, and I would get okay at doing it. But then when you get into an improvisational scenario and I'm using these techniques that I've worked on, but I'm still not comfortable with because it's just not natural. Then when you're improvising, you're making things up, and then you suddenly, I'm going to play this really difficult lick. Every time you just mess it up because the technique is too thinky, so therefore it's taking your mind away from the music, and that's the problem. So that's why I went into economy picking, and economy picking is best, but the caveat with economy picking is that at some point with it, you're going to have to play inside the strings. And in fact, to make economy picking really super efficient, it's good to be, you need to be great at alternate picking and the economy picking, because what it means is you don't have to wait for trying opportunities to play even numbers of notes to turn something round. And what I mean by that is that when you watch like the Frank Gambale video, right? And I can't zoom in here, but like he does like a G major scale, right? But like to turn it round, he goes 2 notes, but doesn't descend back, and then just starts descending from the second string. And the reason that is because it keeps everything like in economy motion. So what I do, the way that I sort of employ the two things, is that those last bits of the scale where it's going to turn round are all inside motion. So, I've gone up the scale, and you can see that like slight rotation in my wrist. And that's because I'm using alternate picking, but it's inside motion. Problem with the inside motion, and this is like where Troy Grady's very, very handy, actually explains on how you do it. It's to do with the, the slanting of the pick. It's like even if you're just playing a scale up, like 3 notes per string, and you use an alternate picking, your rotation, you have to use a different rotation. If you're doing economy picking, the whole string changes are all down, 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 and then you can do economy picking just to turn the thing round at the end. And that works out great. And that's how you do the tricky descending runs, you know? Which is one of the problems I used to have, you know, pre-economy picking. So economy is like very good. It's very, very efficient. And, you know, if you think about it, you know, scientifically, it makes like a ton of sense, doesn't it? Because you're using the momentum as well. And you're also removing a picking stroke. I think the other thing about economy picking is some people think, oh, it's like not as good as economy picking and stuff like that, and you can't do as much, and that's not true as well. You can be I've got more dynamic range with my economy picking than I have actually with my alternate picking. I mean, maybe it's slightly more difficult to do accents and notes and things. But somebody's coming down the stairs, and we've got like a bit of chaos going on. Distracted. All right. Okay. So, yeah. So, like economy picking, it's always a fine idea to do that. And if you don't want to fully get into the economy picking, I know like a great way to get into it, and how I slowly got into it was just, you know, the Eric Johnson groups of five lick, which I can't do now. But obviously, like with something like that, there's just, you know, like if you take like an E minor pentatonic scale. And you're picking it down, up, down, down, down. Then to change to the next group of five, you have to do an up. Well, it's easy just to go down, down. So you've got this mix of alternate and economy picking where to make the group of notes more playable. And that was sort of my entry into it. And I was like, hold on a minute. Like, this is like making life a lot easier. And I can do quite difficult things. So I should just do as much economy picking as I possibly can, really, and just have a nice life. And it's been great, you know. You know, stuff like that. That's like, you know, I would never be able to do that with alternate picking. And then two notes, then one note, three notes, two notes. You know, it's like you can do any combination, which is great, isn't it? Hey, great, thanks. Cool, it is cool. Just learn and play what you want on the guitar, and you have, and you will be way ahead of those telling you can't soon enough. You have HH pickup guitar and in your collection to use. How do I use chord tones in my solos? That's a great question, isn't it? So there are different there's like lots of different angles that I think of my playing. So like very quickly, basically, pentatonic scale is great because you kind of got like loads of natural chord tones, haven't you there? So like if we're in like E minor or something, and you've got an E minor pentatonic scale, we've got like root, we've got the third, we've got the fourth, which is also 11th, we've got a fifth, seventh, root, and then it repeats, right? So that's like great, and you've got 5 notes, and that sits usually pretty okay with most things, okay? But the next thing is it can get a bit boring, can't it? So the next sort of venture that I go into is adding a 9, which is the F sharp. I really like that. It's got, because I quite like neo soul stuff, right? So it's like there's a lot of that kind of phrasing that goes on. So that 9th really kind of adds quite a sweet sound. So then what I'll do is I'll start thinking about maybe pentatonic substitution. So again, with that 9th note, if we're in E minor, we can also use the pentatonic scale of 5th up, which gives us like a B minor pentatonic, and that way we get the 9th note. If you're in like say E minor, like Dorian, we can use another pentatonic scale where we can play an F sharp minor pentatonic scale, and that gives us that major sixth 13 sound if we want it. So that's one way I think about it. And then other intervals outside of that is I'll have kind of favourite ones that I like. I quite like major sevens, and it's that dissonant. So I quite like playing off that. And then another way I think of chord tones is instead of like sort of the pentatonic thing, I'll start forming arpeggios and almost improvising on them like a scale would be the easiest way to sort of describe it. So an often favourite is like, say if you take a G major 7 and you make it into a major 9, and then what you can do is you can add these other notes in, 3 notes here, so it becomes like the first kind of layer to this is 2-1-2, and then we've got 3-1-3. So I'm adding these other kind of chord tones in that are 9s, 11s and 13s, and then you can just go crazy and start adding chromatic notes between it. Which sounds great. Which is something I'm really into because like that outside kind of sound I'm starting to slowly get into my playing, just because you get bored of yourself, don't you? I think one of the most tricky things about being, playing all the time, right? Now I'm back into guitar playing, it's just boredom. You get bored of yourself, don't you? It's like very, very difficult. So, I mean, for me, I've had to start pulling at sort of like fusion, bordering on kind of jazz concepts. I'm not like a fusion or really a jazz player, but hi, some guy. It's fine to lurk, but it's nice to see you here and all that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, there's like that's like one way I kind of think about it. Then there's like the chord changes. You can follow chord changes is another way. But when I'm improvising, I just like to use my ears, and I don't try and read kind of what's necessarily going on in the chord progression. I just try and, when I'm playing, I have a tune in my head most of the time, and I can hear it. But I think the interesting thing is how you end up with that tune, and to end up with that tune, it's kind of knowing the intervals and the scales and playing them and kind of building that framework in your head, and then you can kind of utilize that as melodies in your head, which you can then play. Like chromatic stuff's really interesting because you have to sort of develop a tolerance for it, which kind of increases, and you become more chromatic and more sort of like outside, more sort of lost in it. And it's like, to you it's great, and then mind you, other people can be like, God, that's annoying, you gotta watch it. My favourite Kiesel model. Cool. So, right, I hope that answers that question. A guy just farted ahead of me while I was walking upstairs. You'll recover. Let's see what we got in the department for backing tracks. Right, I've done flashes of light. Right, this one. Oh, this one's called "Run to Freedom." Run to Freedom. What key is it in? got an itchy eye. That's cool. Oh, that was like 6 minutes there. What happened? Killer, thank you. pee. There we go. There's no easy way to stop it. It'd be great just to do like a fade out, wouldn't it? Right, so I'm going to finish this coffee and then I'm going to have a non-alcoholic beer. Like alcohol and shredding don't really mix, do they? Right. Now, let's see if it explodes everywhere. Because ooh. Right. Oh, that's nice. I'm gonna burp. All right, no, it's not. Okay, cool. All right, well, I enjoyed that jam. Pick scrape, of course. How could I have missed a pick scrape? Or did I do one and didn't realise just in the heat of the moment? You know. So, what was I going to say? Yes, I've got. Yeah. So, just a reminder, anybody on here who has just come on, do subscribe to the channel, please. And could I have some more thumbs up? That's what I need. I need some thumbs up. That would be brilliant. Some more likes. That's what I need. I'm on 11. I wonder if there are a few more I can squeeze out of anybody who's here. Other than that, there's also the Patreon, which is in the link is in the description. So do join my Patreon, and also join the morning live sessions. So I'm running the morning's live sessions like a music course now, basically, and it's free if you want it to be free. If you want to donate some money to the channel, there's an option to support the channel with $4, which would be amazing. Or you can join free. Now, I notice there's a lot of people viewing the channel, but they're not joining for free, and I think there is some confusion. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Patreon, and I'll see if we can look at this. Right. Can we see that? So basically, all it is when you come onto the site, there's become a member. So if you hit become a member, you've got support my channel for $4 a month. Okay, so that's great if you do that. Much appreciated. Because it just keeps things going, doesn't it? And I can develop things and cool. But obviously, if you don't want to, there's this option. So what you got to do is not bother with become a member, and there are the 3 dots here. It's definitely vertical, isn't it? And then you can join for free there. So there's the free option. Now, what I'll say is the kind of new way that I'm sort of doing the lives is going to start this Monday. So this Monday, we start doing conditions of success every Monday, and then for what we do work into one area per month. So next week, we'll start looking at habits. We're going to start looking at how to make good, positive habits. We'll be talking about making a minimum viable commitment to your guitar practice, to your studio practice, all of those good things, and how to reinforce that, and how to just get to a point where you find yourself just sitting down, making music, and it's like no effort whatsoever. It's just like instinctive. It's just all part of your daily routine. So we'll be talking about that, habits, minimum viable commitment. The other thing we'll be doing on Monday, which is really important, is we'll be doing some free writing. So I've got a free write, and there's basically 3 questions. So you need pen and paper, and then I'm going to basically ask everybody a question, and we're going to write about 3 areas, which are the first one is you're going to write about your music, how you imagine your musical fantasy to sound. Like if you could kind of just produce any music you wanted, what would it sound like an oral fantasy, basically, and we write about that. I've got various prompts that I'll give you to help you along the way. Then we talk about the money sides of things, because obviously we would like to make music, release music, teach, coach, whatever, however you're going to make money. So we start doing a free write about that. Again, that'll be prompted. And then the third section is all about mindset. So we're talking about like all of the things, you're writing about all the things you might have to change about yourself or your situation to achieve all the things that you've wrote about in the free write. So it's a really good one. It's a really revealing thing, because one of the problems that I'll get with people who want to be coached and they haven't done this exercise is they're very unclear about what they actually want. But if you know what you want, I mean, that's most of the battle won, really. Then you've got something to work towards, and you can just problem solve and action plan and all that kind of thing that gets you there. And that'll work with, the business side of things, your guitar playing side of things, or your music practice, or whatever instrument you're on. It'll work with you writing music, producing, mixing, all those things. This'll help you have like a focused and methodical approach to it. So we'll be doing like that. So this month will be all habits. Next month we're going to talk about environment. I'm really looking forward to environment, because I'm hoping on the Discord, because the link's here, I really want to see everybody's studios. Because environment is going to be about how do you change your environment. Once we've done habits, right, there'll be lots of things that you might find that are causing friction and stopping you, and environments where we can start just making a point of like changing things, and maybe just completely undoing your studio and just get wiring in the bits that you actually need. We tend to have too many things, and it can be a real cognitive load on us and like stop us being as productive as we want to be. So environment's really important. But there's about 7 or 8 areas that we're working into over the coming months. So habits, environment, decision making. So I really dive into the psychology of decision making. So we'll be doing a lot of exercises and talking, and I'll be presenting various things about insight and analysis and how we can use them, okay, to our advantage when we're making music, okay, and when we're playing, when we're improvising. We'll be looking at fear. We'll be looking at boredom. As I mentioned, boredom earlier on the stream. But we'll also be looking at how to overcome fear, which we all have, What else we'll be doing? Community, understanding your community, how to build a tribe. That will also be a month. And then finally, we will look at skills. So I leave skills always last. And the reason I leave skills is because I think most of us are already too over-focused on skills. And I find that a lot of people are like, oh, I don't make music, or I don't do this because I haven't got these skills, and I feel that I can't do it. And that's not necessarily, correct. There's many a successful musician out there who has hardly any skills, but they just have great ideas, and they kind of know how they want to present them to people. So that's something to think about. And then another part of this is we will be doing some focus training as well. So that's kind of conditions for success. So that's what we'll be doing. That's just a quick sort of blast over it all. So if you want to kind of, another thing is don't feel like if you haven't joined or you're part of this in week 1 of it, it'll be an ongoing thing, and you can kind of join on these morning sessions anytime. But I'll be on tomorrow, 6 a.m, if anybody wants to dip in. So it'll be a regular studio session. I should be doing some music production stuff actually tomorrow, so that'll be good. And then there'll be a stream on Friday. I believe if Thomas is there, McRocklin and Hutch are going to be live on Saturday night, and then Monday we're going to start habits. So it's all action packed. But as I say, if you can join Patreon, whether it's free or paid, that would be amazing. Okay. And then one last kind of plug is I do run 2 music coaching groups. So if you want to be in a room with me for 2 hours a week, right, you can join one of my coaching groups. The coaching groups are limited to 4, and basically we sit down and we write tons of music. Now, the Freak Star is asking, what are the time zones? So the time zones, well, what are the times? I'll give you the UK time, right? So one group runs a Wednesday morning, 5 in the morning. Yeah, 5 in the morning. And then that's through till 7. So they're always 2 hours. And then a Thursday evening. And that's the Thursday evenings, 8 till 10, and that's UK time zone. So those are the two sort of like times. It'd be great to have people on there, which would be smashing. Other than that, I might play another tune. We need new McRocklin and Hutch, a new album, like Animals and Jagar. Yeah, I might play Jagar now, actually. There is actually, tomorrow I'll be working on I'm working on the new album. So I've started it, but I'm kind of approaching it in a different way. So I'm kind of almost, instead of, like, I used to just fill a whole track up and just like make it like do a full electronic track of synthwave and then just dump it onto Thomas and go sort it out. Play some guitar on that. I'm not doing that now because we're both playing guitar. I'm doing things that are a little bit more open, that allow a lot more freedom on guitar. So the cool thing about that is the track that we're working on tomorrow, I'm just going to do what I call a drafting mix, right? I'll explain tomorrow. But I'll be getting it ready good enough to do the live stream on Saturday so we can have a jam over it and see if we can get a feel for it, you know? So there's a couple of tracks that I've done like that, which we're going to jam on. If things go well, we'll go, yeah, we'll do it. We'll put that. We'll stick it on the album maybe. So we'll have one jam. That track will disappear and then it'll reappear finished, probably sounding quite different with guitars and everything on it. So that's the way I'm sort of doing things for now. So yeah, the new. But I'm also, it's interesting that the earlier Viber things, I'm kind of looking at that as well. Throw in pick scrapes, yeah. I mean, there might be a track where it's just pick scrapes, George. Oh, it's like a dance track, that, isn't it? I'll do something with it. There's one track there, George. Thanks. That was a really good inspiration. Right. I don't want to do that. Oh, look at that. I haven't even got Jagar in. I'll just get it. There we go. What's that? And there we go. So, I think that is me. I feel my hands getting tired. So, I think I'll bring things to a close and zone out with those songs. Mindscape, pure magic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the whole McRocklin and Hutch thing, it was brilliant when it came along, you know, and Thomas going, oh, you should listen to synthwave, and then like I kind of cracked then the whole putting guitars with electronic music totally made sense, you know. Right, can anybody, I've got 13 likes. I always seem to end up on 13. So can we make it 14? And then, like, 13's meant to be unlucky, isn't it? So anybody, just don't let this stream end with 13 of those, 14 or 12. So yeah, anybody who's new here, please, and you've liked what's been happening, subscribe. If you're interested in joining the morning sessions, subscribe so you get the notifications and thumbs up and all that kind of stuff, and join the Patreon would be brilliant. So right, anybody want to ask any final questions, anything at all, anything final you would like to thank God for that, 14. Anybody want to say anything at all? Oh, there's another 115. Phew, we're safe. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. Well, for me, I've really enjoyed playing, and I really feel like my playing's sort of coming along these days. It's kind of, you know, I'm trying my best. I'm doing my practice, you know, and I think it's paying off a little bit. Another thing about these vertical streams that's really, really cool is a lot of the times I can get really cool shorts out of them. So it'll probably be like a lot of shorts coming up from the highlights of these streams. So that's cool. Well, everybody, I'm going to head off now. Thank you for attending this broadcast, and it is a broadcast. And I'll see you tomorrow morning, or at least some of you, bright and early at 6 o'clock. All right. Bye.